And welcome back to another on Wrestling and time edition of AEW Collision Out of 10. And yeah, big show. So we've got lots of huge matches on the card, including a huge one to kick us off: Danielson versus Shibata, a dream match for many. And then some other matches on the card as well. Great to see Kyle O'Reilly back on action. We also saw Adam Copeland on the show. But without further ado, let's get straight into Danielson and Shibata, who kicked off the show. Both of these men thought they would have to retire due to injuries and returned against the odds. So this bout was an impossibility for a long time. They started off with methodical with technical exchanges. They mainly focused on holds and counters for a few minutes, but they eventually started testing each other with kicks. By the time we returned from a break, they had progressed from feeling each other out to a full-blown fight. Shibata beat the American Dragon in the corner with a flurry of strikes. The match accomplished two things at once. It both lived up to its potential and left room to grow in any future encounters. It's a fine line to walk, especially with two stars lauded for their skills, but they did it well. The wrestlers survived a running knee and a bell lock. After several more great exchanges, Danielson was able to pin Shibata with a modified crucifix. The match ruled, and you should go and see it. They shook hands and hugged before celebrating in front of each other. Brilliant match, brilliant result. 7 out of 10. What a way to kick the show off. But moving on then to Judy Hart against Trish Adora. The TBS titles on the line. And the first of two infantry versus House of Black matches when Hart battled Adora. This bout was also to determine which woman was allowed at ringside for the tag match later in the show. Adora used her size to take her control early, but Hart's vicious style of offense allowed her to take over after she regained her footing. After a break, Hart hit a textbook moonsault for the win. It was a solid match, but it was going to be impossible for anyone to follow Danielson and Shibata. They did a good job under the circumstances though. So yeah, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. I think, yeah. But moving on then to Daniel Garcia against Lee Moriarty. Danielson and Shibata gave us a match between two skilled veterans. This was a match between two young talents who will likely be as respected as those men someday in the future. They wasted no time trying to test each other. Both men were trying to win quickly and used several different submissions and strikes as an attempt to put the other down. They had some incredible sequences showing off their technical ability, but it was Garcia who came away after using heel hook to get the win. And yeah, like I said, this was a really good match. Probably not on the level of the first match, but I think the nature of it, the fun, fast nature of it, really played into its hands here. Thought it made an entertaining encounter, and Daniel Garcia continues to gain momentum. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Before next up on the card, we saw Pac taking on Arrow and Solo. Pac was originally slated to take on Commander, but an injury meant he was replaced with Solo. It's a short but competitive bout. Solo got a surprising amount of offense in, but it wasn't enough. After a few minutes, Pac won with a Black Arrow with a signature submission, grabbed the mic, addressing Tony Khan directly, said he was looking for trouble. If Khan won't find it, he'll find it himself. Every match looked good, but this bout was too short to be much more display of Pac's skills, unfortunately. So yeah, 6 out of 10. Did the job, but it's a shame he missed out on the Commander match because I felt like that could have been a banger. But yeah, this was just here to put Pac over, really. Claudio Castagnoli then took on Lance Archer, and Claudio wasn't used to facing many men who are both taller and stronger than him, but that was the case this week when he battled Lance. They went back and forth for a long time, almost trading moves for one as they tried to get the upper hand. Archer's a bruiser while Claudio is more well-rounded, but the Murder Hawk did a great job making sure he wasn't outshined. In fact, this was Archer's most competitive AEW singles bout we've seen in a long time. He reminded a lot of people that he is more versatile than he appears. This was an enjoyable match that ended in an unfortunate way with a DQ. The Righteous Tuck and Castagnoli and Danielson and Shibata made the save. It's a shame it ended like that because it was a really good match up to that point. But on the whole, gets 7 out of 10 from me. I thought a really fun match up to that point, and definitely one that I'd like to see again. And I think the way they use their characters kind of worked really well here. Before it's time for Kyle O'Reilly taking on Brian Keith. O'Reilly was back in the ring and he looked excited to be locking up again as they got going. It was a hard-hitting fight. There was a big focus and strikes from both men. O'Reilly's a well-known striker, so the bounty hunter was doing his best to keep up. With KR recently returning from a long injury hiatus, nobody's expecting him to lose. Predictability is common in pro wrestling, but when two stars can make it feel like a tough fight, it's easy to figure a finish that you can see coming from a mile away. Both men worked their butts off to make sure this was fun for the crowd, and I think KR won with the armbar. Tony Schiavone called Armageddon. The Undisputed Kingdom came out to celebrate, which is obviously going to be an interesting story here going forward. So yeah, gets 6 out of 10 from me. I thought did the job here, and definitely this story with the Kingdom's going to be interesting. Before it's time for the Infantry versus House of Black, and it was Matthews and King against Sean Dean and Carl Labrevo to determine the wildcard spots. King and Matthews attacked them during their entrance. They eventually relented and walked to the ring so the match could begin. House of Black took control and almost won in less than a minute, but the pin was broken up and the bout continued through the break. The Infantry had some brief comebacks, but this match was dominated by Matthews and King most of the time. Matthews was even willingly stopped to pin so he can inflict more punishment. Briscoe though showed up and hit Matthews with a chair behind the rest back and baited King into chasing and giving the infantry a huge upset winning the protest. The Dewey was a genuine surprising route and furthered the feud. I think if House of Black weren't going to win it, I guess this makes sense in a way. Definitely didn't see it coming, but like I said, a big win for infantry. And I think this will definitely further the feud with Briscoe, which is already hotting up. So yeah, I think creative way to finish and good stuff. 6 out of 10. And Collision ended with Adam Copeland giving a promo, introducing us to his spiker 2x4 nail sticking out. He said Mick Foley gave him the ideas ahead of his match with Christian, and yeah, I think that's going to be certainly a brutal affair based off this. So yeah, very much looking forward to that, and a great way to end a decent episode of Collision. Overall, Collision gets a 7 out of 10 from me this week. I thought this was a really good episode of Collision, actually. Lots of highlights throughout the show, some really high quality matches, stories definitely being built up. So yeah, on the whole, like I say, a really enjoyable episode of Collision, and one I think that's probably the best in a while. And you can tell that we're really building up to some big storylines at the moment, especially with what we saw at Copeland at the end, and some great matches as well with like the Danielson one. Hey guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.